Hey, it's Allyson Steinberg, your host, and I'm here just to welcome you to Estheticians in Business, the podcast. Hey guys, welcome to Estheticians in Business, the podcast. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is episode 8. Like, how insane is that? And that means that I've been creating a podcast for 2 months now, which is absolutely wild to me. Like, how has that even been 2 months? I know that like 2 months ago, if I had you could look at that Allison and tell her, like, you are going to have a podcast still 8 weeks later and you're going to make 8 episodes. I don't know if she'd believe me because when I started this podcast, I started it so messy. Like, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But I'm so excited you guys are here because if you're watching on YouTube, you are getting to see it all from the beginning and kind of to watch me progress into like whatever this podcast becomes. But as always, I always hope this podcast becomes a way for you as a solo esthetician or as an esthetician or somebody in the beauty industry where you can truly just learn how to be fully booked without having to beg clients to come in. I hope that this is a place where you get to learn all about being an esthetician and being a business owner from somebody who's done it, owned multiple businesses, and has done stuff like this for a long time and has a few degrees in it. I really hope that I'm somebody that you can, come to when you ask questions, stuff like that. So with that, we're actually going to get into a topic which you guys know any questions you ever ask me. So if you're not in my Facebook group, I would 10 out of 10 recommend. It's called Estheticians in Business, the Facebook group. Just like type in Facebook group, you'll find me. Or go to my Instagram, Estheticians in Business, and you'll find the Facebook group there in my link tree. But I have a Google form. If you guys have a question, I always ask that you just put the Google form, put the question in the Google form, and then I answer it live. And so I always get different questions, but one that I always get questions about is being booked. So I want to talk to you guys about this week, really about like what I would do if I were to restart my business completely. And I say this because I've actually thought about this. As you guys know, my husband is in barber school right now and he's almost finished and he thinks he wants to get a job first, which slightly breaks my soul because I'm like, let me do this. Like it's my favorite thing, right? Let me get in a BNI again. Like let me network like in person again. Like I want that. But whatever, his wants, lame. What would I do if I were to restart as an esthetician? Like, what if I were to open a spa here? Like, what would I do to support myself and to get myself to where I want my business to be so that I can thrive again? So, if you guys don't know my story, I opened my business in Orlando, Florida. My husband and I had just moved there, and I was like, I'm going to open my business. And when I did that, I knew no one. I mean, I had family, like my husband was my family. That was it. I didn't have friends. I didn't have family there. I didn't know anybody there. I went in there knowing zero. And it was funny because when I decided to go solo, I had so many people tell me no because they're like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it because you are LOL. They told me like, you're not going to make it because you don't know anybody. Well, you know how you learn? You know how you meet people? By meeting people. So you go out there and do it. It's almost like I had a volleyball coach one time. So, hey, Coach Coffee, if you listen to this. But I had a volleyball coach tell me one time, Allison, you know how you get better at jumping? I was like, what? She's like, you jump. And I was like, oh. And ever since then, like that, something silly that was like transformed my life because I've gotten better at jumping, right? Because I jump. It's like how do you get better at running? You run. How do you get better at marketing? You market. And so it's like you just kind of get better at things. So when I think about, there's a few things that I would tell you if you are somebody who's like, you know what, I'm going to get started, or if you're like really, really struggling right now, or even if you're not struggling right now, and you are wanting to get started and get going and really bring clients in, or you want to like just build, and you're like, maybe you're one of those people that like hustled really hard and then like burnt out. I'm going to tell you just some ways that I would restart my business so that you can understand from the perspective of what it kind of could look like for you. Now, I started with nobody. I made 6 figures in less than 18 months. And I teach my students currently how to get between 100 and 150 clients in 3 months using a specific method that I teach. And if you're interested in all that, it's all on my Instagram page. Check that out. I'll also like link it in the show notes, right? But the first thing I would tell you is start messy. Like start so messy. I felt like this podcast was like a perfect example of what starting messy looks like because I had zero idea how to start a podcast, but I knew that I wanted you guys to know more about my personality. I wanted you to hear my voice. I wanted you to know a little bit more of who I am so that I could show up more for you in like this kind of form versus, just a caption on Instagram. I would just suggest you to start messy. Start before you have the equipment. Start before you have the perfect sheets. Start before you have the perfect robes or the perfect aromatherapy. Start before you have the perfect consultation chair, the perfect building. Like, start so messy. I always think about my massage therapist that was in Orlando when she first started as a massage therapist, like solo. We were like in the same suite situation. And I remember her room, which just had the very basics in it because she just like generally couldn't afford to do much else until she started doing stuff and making it make more money. And then she upgraded slowly and she did stuff. And I was always so impressed by that because I've watched so many people just go into this industry, like having to spend $10,000, $30,000. Y'all, they make it so easy now. Like, you literally can start a business, nearly no dollars, right? And then you could literally, no joke, take what, five, six, probably $1,000. Say $1,000, like that's your cap. That's all you have is $1,000. You could literally purchase your table. I mean, you could purchase it. You could do this probably under 500. A table, steamer. You could purchase like your disposables, maybe like just a cute little chair to do a consultation and a chair for you behind the table and some towels, and you are good to go. I mean, guys, I'm not gonna lie. My very first appointment, are you ready for this? I bought a used towel warmer, and towel warmer worked at the guy. He was actually on barbershop. And it was gonna be $30 versus me purchasing one for like $100. It worked there. I get the day before, I'm about to have my very first client. I'm like, just checking everything. I check, she's getting a full body treatment, meaning that she needed all the hot towels. My towel warmer doesn't work. It doesn't work. I have no means of getting a new towel warmer prior to my service. So you know what you did? What I did? I went to Target and I got a crock pot, a very large crock pot. She had no idea. Still don't even know she knows. So Dana, if you're listening to this, I used a crock pot on you. But yeah, she had a full body treatment. She needed hot towels. And so I got a crock pot and I put the towels in the crock pot. I mean, in reality, guys, like that might sound like absolutely would never do that. Maybe, but when you broke and you don't have a lot and you're just trying to make it, like start messy and then build as you can. And I say that because as you guys see, if you're watching YouTube, I now have this microphone. However, she is not going to be the microphone I stick with. Because aesthetically, it's not my favorite. And then you could see maybe if you're watching, so you're like, well, you're not like in the dark anymore. I actually got this super fancy, like panel light that kind of hurts to look at. And it's like, because I'm slowly kind of building on what I need. I'm just starting. I think that's what I'm trying to say is just start. You can start messy. I mean, no one starts like clean. And I get it. If you're like OCD or if you're somebody who has like perfectionism kind of thing going on, it might feel really dirty to do that. But I'm telling you right now is the people that win are the people that start and keep going. And you can build, I mean, I just think about it like starting esthetician Allyson, brand new, knowing that like starting versus me now as an esthetician with a bunch of degrees and coaching almost over 100 students like in the past few months that I've been able to help and coach and get tons and tons and tons of new clients. And I'm just so excited for that. But that's not where I started. So my recommendation first is to start messy. Number two is to get tremendously uncomfortable. Okay. Tremendously uncomfortable. That is my step number two. And I say tremendously uncomfortable because I don't care if you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, if you're an octopus. I don't care. Your job as a solo esthetician is not only to perform the service, but to also get the clients. And I think that's the downfall a lot of you forget is that you're no longer working for someone else. You are working for yourself. Okay. Meaning not a single person is going to bring you a client. No one is going to bring you a client except for you. Okay. And that I'm saying that even if someone refers you somebody, you did that. Like, absolutely give all the glory to God, but you did that too. Okay. You were the one that had that good experience so that somebody did refer you, that you have that system set up, somebody did refer you. Yes. No one is going to hand you a client, not a single one. And for somebody who used to do like direct marketing, guys, no one brings you clients. You got to go find them and you have to be able to be told no a lot. You have to get uncomfortable a lot. I always tell anybody this. You need to stop chasing the yeses and start chasing the nos. And I'm not saying go out there and cold message. Don't do that. That's ugly, okay? That's dirty. That's yucky stuff. We don't go out there and DM cold message people because no one wants that. I don't want a hey girl message. I don't like that. That's icky. So you have to get uncomfortable, meaning that if you're like starting your business and you're like, I'm going to post on Instagram and make lots of clients, I want to like burst your bubble for a moment. You are not going to get a bunch of clients that way. Okay. You may in a while, once people know who you are and you build your Instagram. And yes, sometimes people do blow up and they do get that. But in reality, that person who blew up probably did all the other work behind the scenes too. So you can't just go on Instagram and just be like, oh, I'm just going to post here and see what happens. I'm going to post a discount and see what happens. I have had multiple people get mad at me when I'm like, get out of social media land and get out in front of people. Where are your clients? Where are they where are your potential clients? Okay. If you don't have any clients right now, where are your potential clients? Do you know who they are? If you don't, start there. And give an age range, okay? I feel like the age range is something we missed out on, and the age range is something that's probably the most important, one of the most important. Knowing where they hang out, okay? So say you're like Generation X, right? And then Generation Z, which is like our youngest buying people, millennials, and then you have Generation X, which is like above millennials, and then you have the baby boomers, right? So the Generation X, they're not as much on Instagram. So if you're in TikTok, right? Some of them are, I'm not saying they're not. Baby boomers, sure not. Okay. But if your demographic is that area and you're only posting on Instagram, you're never going to get the client that you want because you're speaking to no one because the person that you want is not on there. You have to meet your clients where they are. So when I say that, I want you to think like when you're meeting a client where they are, where do they hang out at? Okay. So to give you an example, if you're like, I have to be on social media. Are they in Facebook groups? And maybe you're a Gen Z and you're like, you know what? I don't like Facebook. Well, girlfriend, this is where you get uncomfortable. You join Facebook groups. You become friends with somebody. You have a relationship with somebody. You don't just go in there, here's my service, purchase. Like that's icky. People don't like that. People don't want to be sold to. They want to be helped. They want the thing that you're providing to be provided to them, not for you to be like, it's $95. You can give it to me now. I know you have no idea who I am, no idea how good of a service I provide, and you don't even trust me, but I want your $95. No one's going to do that. So you have to sorry, my dog's in here and he just looked at me like, bro, why are you in here? Like, you're not allowed on the bed. Which clearly he doesn't care. Low key, we had a storm last night. And so like he sleeps with us when there's a storm because he loses his crap. So he's just been glued to me. But anyways, that's a whole side note for you guys. Love you. I have a German short hair pointer. I have 3. This one's a baby. He's just a baby. He's like 10. Okay, so you have to just get uncomfortable and show up where they are. I hope that makes sense. So think about how you purchase and think about where they are. So if you are, I always use this as an example, but people just feel so uncomfortable doing it, which it just drives me bananas because I'm like, get uncomfortable and do it. Okay. Networking events. I get it. Networking events can be ugly. They can be frustrating. You want to put your hair out. But I'm telling you right now, not to go to a networking event where it's like, here's my card. I'll take all the cards, throw them away, and never speak to each other again. That is not conducive to anything healthy. That is icky. That is sticky. That is gross. Okay? Icky, sticky bubblegum. That is not good. Okay? We want to find stuff that is important and engaging. Okay? That's why I always recommend going to something that's already created. So like a BNI. My favorite. Love BNIs over Chamber of Commerce because BNIs, you talk. Okay. You are in connection. Your job is literally giver's gain. You are referring people. And that's a whole other story. But finding a networking group that actually networks. So I was part of this group. It was like this girl that she's a realtor and she's awesome. And she created just this group and I just joined it. And I was like, I don't want to create this, but I'm going to utilize you. And I told her this too. I was like, you just keep doing you. I'm going to keep showing up. And so I just kept showing up. And people just started booking appointments with me because I built relationships with them. I would drink a non-alcoholic beer with them. I was pregnant at the time. Non-alcoholic beer with them. I would sit there with them. I would do all the things with them. Like we would become friends and inevitably they booked with me. So like I got super uncomfortable and I went to those things alone. But I also did things too where I went to like loads of different vendor events alone, sometimes with my husband, but alone where I would literally do like spin wheels and I would do all these things that got people to engage with me, to enter to win something. And I can get down the whole rabbit hole. But the thing is, what I'm telling you is you have to show up where your people are. So if you're looking at Gen X, they are out there doing things in the wild, okay? They're not just on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Those should be supplement things, okay? Now, if you want to just get clients on Instagram or Facebook, then that is your whole job other than giving services, meaning you need to be posting as much as possible. I listened to this thing from Meta the other day, and it was like an interview, and he literally said 5+ posts a day to truly grow on Instagram. I'm barely surviving posting one time a day. You want me to do 5? So that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, you have to get so uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone and do that, okay? You have to ask people for referrals. You have to ask people for pre-books. You have to ask people for the stuff. And I want to let you know that if you don't know how to do all that stuff, that puts me into number 3 on our list, is to educate yourself. Something that I did as I have grown up in my life, right? As I've become an adult, and I feel like I'm a fairly seasoned adult. And sometimes feel like I'm like a 30-year-old teenage mom, right? But as this kind of seasoned adult, I feel like something that we have to understand is learning never stops. Learning never stops. You ever watch this YouTube video? You're, looking and you're like, ow, I dressed up for this. I really did. No, I'm just kidding. I just came from the gym. Everything's been crazy. And I literally had to get my daughter down for a nap. I have literally an hour to do this and then go. So I'm not taking a shower. So you guys get me like post gym and then I'll go bathe. Okay. So, what was I telling you that? So while I was at the gym, while I'm on the treadmill, okay, I'm not running, I was walking. I read a book on marketing. Your girl's got these degrees and this stuff, yes, but it never ends. The education never ends. So my third tip to you is to always keep learning, okay? Never stop learning. If there's a topic you don't know about and you want to know about, learn about it. Don't just like, for instance, okay, this is like side note to this. When I got pregnant, almost 2 years ago, like 18, almost 18 months ago. I had no idea what was going on. Obviously, I knew like I was having a baby, right? I knew how that worked. But like, I didn't know what was happening week to week, how she was growing. I didn't know all that stuff. Even going into labor, like I feel like I didn't know. And so I did the research. I read the stuff. I bought the books. I learned about breastfeeding because I was determined to breastfeed. And I did all those things and I took the classes. And I feel like if it wasn't for the aspect of doing that, I don't think I would have breastfed. I don't think I would have done all those things because I didn't know my options. I didn't know those things because I wouldn't have educated myself on it. But apply that to every aspect of your life. If you're in a business and you're just starting your business, or even if you've been in your business for a while and you're like, you know what? I really need to know how to master how to do referrals. I would 100% recommend you either obviously I'm going to recommend taking my course, right? But reaching out and talking to somebody who does referrals. If you're somebody who wants to know about how to do website creation or how to use Facebook groups or how to do paid ads, or if you're somebody who wants to know how to do a podcast, if you're somebody who wants to know how to do all this stuff, you need to educate yourself on it. It's just like if you're somebody who's like, I want to know how to give gua sha facial massages. Take a class, YouTube it, figure it out. There's a book called Everything is Figure Outable, and it is the most amazing book because it literally everything is figure outable. So if you're a business owner and you're a solo esthetician listening to this, your step 3 of this, after getting messy, getting uncomfortable, is to always keep learning. Okay. Always keep learning, whether that's taking a free class or taking a paid class, whether it's taking a course or going and becoming dermaplane certified or whatever. It is always continuing educating yourself. So it's even in the same concept. They're like, okay, I know how to get clients. I know how to do all that stuff, but I want to become an acne specialist. I want to know about acne. Invest in yourself. Learn, keep going, but focus on one thing at a time. Something that really served me really well as I was talking about as a seasoned adult, something that served me really well is knowing what seasons I was in. So knowing if I was in a learning season, a growth season, a reaping season, maybe I'm in a rest season. Like knowing what season I was in so that I could really put a name to it and I could focus on what I needed to do. So for me right now in my business, I'm kind of like in an experiment season. I'm going to try it, see how things go, and change as I need to. I've never launched digital courses before November of last year. So I'm still learning how to navigate that. I'm still learning how to navigate all that, right? And I'm so excited. I've been coaching for years, but doing it at a different space is so cool to me. And so the same thought is for you too, is like, how are the places or how are the ways that you can educate yourself to get you to the next season of your life? So if you're brand new, sister, you are in a learning season. Okay? You are learning. You're in a working your butt off season. You are getting better season. Or, oh my gosh, you are a disciplined season. You're not slacking. You're not comparing. This ain't a comparing season. This is a growing, constantly growing, planting and sowing and putting those seeds in and watching God work season. It is constantly going, going, going. You have to remember that your business is a business that is one that you plant the seeds, you water the seeds, you organically fertilize the seeds. You maybe you don't have to smoosh off a bug or six, okay? You're in the season of like maybe you lose a few of your plants. Maybe some of your seeds don't work, but you just keep growing. You just keep sowing and sowing and sowing. And then those seeds are gonna sprout. And they're gonna sprout and they're gonna grow and grow and grow. And then eventually fruit is gonna come out of it. But you have to get through all the other stuff. You can't skip a season. You can't look at a plant and be like, so I want you to skip the seeds, the sowing part, the part where you like get into the ground and really build roots. We can't skip that season, right? Because what's the plant gonna have? There's no foundation for this plant. If the plant didn't have roots, it would come out of the ground and fall down. Same concept with your business. You have to remember the fact that you are a business that is growing and changing and altering and doing all the things, but you have to do it at its right pace. You can't just come in and be like, 6 months, I'm not six figures, I'm leaving. Sometimes you have to have a second job. It's okay. You're learning, you're getting better. You have to get that place. So if I were to restart as a solo esthetician, if I were to open up a spa here where I live now, I absolutely would get messy. I would just get started. Okay. I'm not playing games. I'm not going out there and playing games. I'm not like skippy doopy doing it around. Okay. We're doing it. I'm getting uncomfortable, meaning I'm going to be everywhere. So there was like this balloon event that we went to the other day, a hot air balloon event. It was actually really cool. I looked at my husband. I was like, next year, if you decide to open a business, we're going to be in this event. We're going to be in this event. We're going to meet so many people. So many people are going to become your clients. And it's the same concept with everything, right? I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to get out there. And you know what? My husband was so uncomfortable. I'm always uncomfortable, but that's the only way we're going to grow, right? You make your uncomfortable comfortable. And then third is always learn. Constantly for the rest of your life, you have to learn. And I guess finally, 4, know your season. Know the season you're in. You're not in the season of fruit. You can look at so many estheticians that are like, oh, I'm making this, or oh, I'm making this, or oh, I'm fully booked, or oh, I'm this. You have no idea what they went through. No idea what they went through. So I just really encourage you to kind of take a step back, see your willingness, see what you want, see what season you're in, and see if you're actually becoming uncomfortable enough to hit the goals that you want. I know this was kind of like a hardcore podcast episode, but know that I love you. Please come back again. Half y'all should shut this episode off because you're like, she's coming at us hard. I am. I was coming at you hard. I am. Because I just want you to grow and be like really good. I want you to be really, really good. Being the esthetician of your town, it takes work. But I know you can do it. I know you can do it. So what I'm going to do, first off, you guys don't mind, if you can like, comment, subscribe to this. Screenshot this. If this was helpful, please screenshot this and share this to your Instagram story and tag Estheticians in Business. I would love to see that I'm supporting you and helping you as I do a giveaway for like coaching for everybody who does it. So super excited for that. But guys, if you hear that, that is a bird that is like outside my window. Like I'm recording a podcast, sir. Anyways, that's my being messy. Good times. Anyways, I'll come back next week for episode 9, which is so crazy. So I'm going to put in the show notes all the information we've kind of talked about today, as far as like, if you are looking for a marketing course, I got you. Join the almost 100 people who have become students and are working their way to just being the esthetician of their town. And I'm so excited for that. I also put my 3 Steps to Fully Booked webinar in there. And then, of course, you guys just come back next week and I will see you later. Bye.